What is up, everybody? My name is Sean,
And I'm Tom. And
and
we're
we're the
the
Block
Block
Bros. You know what? That was pretty good. That was pretty fucking close.
Call it okay, we got remix.
Remix.
Basically.
Welcome everybody to another episode of your least favorite podcast ever, Block Bros Podcast, an indie games podcast. If you didn't know, just so everyone is aware, right off the top, this is a re-recording of episode number 3, Tracy. um, Unfortunately, due to like a massive storm and internet problems and stuff, the first episode ended up having so many audio glitches that I thought it was okay. I uploaded it and then I listened to it while I was at work and I was like, oh God, this is not good. So
Yeah.
texted Tom and we decided to delete it and remake it. So here we are.
Really gotta love that Minnesota weather, don't you? Just fucking. There's like 100-mile storms here, just
Out of
fucking.
nowhere too. Like we were just
Yeah.
recording and my girlfriend like came in after the recording and she was like, hey, it's storming pretty bad. And I looked outside and I had no idea because we were like so focused in on recording, but like it was like horrible weather conditions outside and like a bunch of people were texting me like, oh shit, my power's out. So like I guess we were lucky that our power didn't go out. It must have afterwards though, because I woke up and like all my lights and like alarm clock was weird. So I guess the power went out after I went to bed.
Yeah, I'd imagine mine probably did too. Like, it's crazy here.
But with that being said, we're getting a rerun at this episode, and a little tidbit for you guys. I'm a huge fan of podcasts. I love podcasts. I listen to a lot of them. And in every podcast I've ever listened to, pretty much everyone has had like an episode where they call it like the lost episode, where either they like lose the episode itself, it has audio glitches or technical issues, someone wasn't recording, something like that, and they lose an episode entirely and have to re-record it. And I feel like it's kind of like a badge of honor, like a rite of passage. So we are officially right now real podcasters. Tom, congratulations.
Ooh, awesome. Little golf claps for us.
Put that on your resume.
Like,
Put that on your resume, dude. Do it. I dare you.
official podcaster now.
So
with a now at the end,
Now, yeah, officially. We'll try not to be like, repeat ourselves as much as we did last episode, and we'll try not to reference last episode because you guys didn't hear it. But we might, because we are we just became podcasters as of right now. So Tom, tell me about your week.
Well, actually my dryer broke the other day, so that was pretty bad. So I had to I've never actually hung my clothes out to dry. Like,
Wow,
I've
what a
only
millennial.
I've only seen that in movies, man. I'm like, man,
Me
people
too.
actually do this shit. And literally, I see why dryers were invented, because my ass has felt like wet fucking sandpaper all goddamn day. And I sit for a fucking living, so I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck, just can't get comfortable as I'm trying to tattoo like all day. It's just been, it's
Hell.
been
Living hell, purgatory out here.
right? I'm like, God, how did people used to walk around in clothes if this is what they felt like, man?
Did you feel like you were a pioneer, like you were just out there on the Oregon Trail hanging your clothes out to dry?
Right?
Partner.
Yeah. I'm just glad my washer isn't broken is all I'm fucking saying,
No, those are expensive.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford a washer. Shit.
Well,
I went to a family reunion. I already told you about this, but I'm telling you again because new episode. I went to a family reunion. It was the first family reunion I have ever been to in my life. And it wasn't even for my family; it was for my significant other's family. And I hadn't met any people from that side of her family, so it was nice. I got to know all of them, and the one thing that I learned that I will take with me for the rest of my life is that you should never, and I really mean this with all certainty, you should never ever let children sing karaoke. Just because here's the thing, man. They're gonna know the chorus of their favorite song and nothing else.
It's a very true point.
And I don't know if you guys know this. Kids are fucking dumb and they can't read. So like when the words are on the screen and they're attempting, they're reading. Y'all remember like being in high school and someone still has like the second grade reading level. That's what it sounded like. It was like you're in class and you're like, hey, popcorn reading, read this passage from whatever you're reading, and the kid just struggles and mumbles his way through, but then it hits the chorus and they're like, take my horse to the old town road. Like confidence, and you know what? I respected the kid for that, but kids shouldn't fucking do karaoke. That's the moral of the story.
Yeah, that is a general rule. It's like if it's kid karaoke, that's fine. That's one thing, but not like in the presence of like your peers is like another. Like God.
Yeah, like there was a lot of adults there, and there was not enough alcohol to support kid karaoke.
Right? God
Hell
damn.
yeah.
You know,
But you go.
randomly, I'm gonna chime in on your karaoke thing before we carry this on. And my most fond memory of like, we'll just call it karaoke because it was spring fling at high school, and everyone's up there fucking singing, doing a terrible job. And I remember Arms of the Angel as soon as I broke my nose. Remember? And she was singing that shit. And as I'm sitting there, like, bleeding, like,
Blood
losing, like,
everywhere.
yeah, just in the arms.
Well, okay, if you're gonna tell the story of how you broke, you gotta actually tell the story of how you broke your nose. I mean, you brought it up, so.
Oh my God.
You want me to do it? Are you embarrassed? Do you want me to do it?
No,
it's a great story.
yeah. So, God, as if ninth grade really can knock it hard enough. Like, so the end of the year is rolling around, right? And we had this thing called Spring Fling, which is just an awesome day where they brought out all these giant inflatables and you got to do whatever, just fucking, awesome high school shit back in the day. And we're just bouncing around and bounce house having a good old bouncy time. And I
And
just thought,
at this point, hold on, at this point in our lives, we were super into like parkour. That's when that
yeah,
was big. Yeah.
yeah. So my dumb ass is like, dude, I can definitely do a backflip in here, no problem. Proceeded to knee myself directly in the face and break my nose in 7 places. I filled that bounce house with blood.
Kind of ruined it for the rest of us, not gonna lie. But at the same time, we were egging you on, like, no, you could definitely do a backflip, bro. Like, 100%. Like, we were shitty friends too, so half that broken nose is on me, probably.
Oh no, dude, I had never kneed myself in the face ever or before that point. Like, I mean, God.
And there was just so much blood.
Yeah. God,
Uh,
I don't think anyone ever forgot that. Mostly because my nose is literally on the whole left side of my face for like a week after that before I could get
yeah,
it fixed.
it was
So
bonkers. It was bonkers, bro. But we kind of left you guys hanging last week when we said you have to go back next week to find out what game we're talking about. That is just because we're super cool and good at podcasting, and not because we forgot to pick a game. 100%. Like 100%. We're super good at podcasting. So what game did we pick for this, Tom?
Enter the Gungeon.
Pew pew. Those are copyrighted sound effects. You actually can't use those.
John Wayne, pow pow.
What in the world is Enter the Gungeon?
Enter the Gungeon is a dungeon crawler game that is based all around guns. It follows 4 adventurers that just want to hunt down, kill their past because they have, in typical video game fashion, they did something wrong in their past that they need to avenge. But they hear of a way to kind of get down and destroy their past, a little bit of a tidbit before we get into the story too much. But yeah, it's definitely a dungeon crawler, but not your typical one. This is one of the best ones you'll play.
I agree. I also know that from playing the game that it combines other elements such as roguelike, whatever you want to say, and bullet hell. And if you guys don't know what bullet hell is, it's essentially bullets all the time flying in your general direction.
Yeah, like whole screen full of bullets, like very slight dodge room and mechanics to get around that keep you on your toes all the time.
Super fun, super great. The game is also developed by a studio called Dodge Roll, if anyone is wondering. And I think this is probably their most famous game from that studio.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about the storyline.
Storyline.
Not gonna lie, I burped during the transition. I'm so glad no one could hear that. Podcasting. Tom, take it away with the storyline. Really crushed this for me.
Right. All right. So I'm just gonna take you all to a place called Ganymede, and you are about to enter the Gungeon. It's a distant, inhabited place that's just everything is a bullet life like alien. Like everything you're about to encounter is about to be a bullet, which really is gonna set it apart. So essentially, why everybody has heard of this place is there's a legendary gun at the bottom of it that is said to be able to kill your past. So you'll be able to right your wrongs, get over things. So it takes place kind of around four adventurers that have heard rumors of this place and they've done something, terrible in their past or something that they wish they could have done better. And it just leads, that's just the basic essence storyline without getting into too much spoilers at the end.
Awesome. So essentially, there's people that have trauma and they want to use a gun to kill their trauma. Now, tell me, was this game invented in America?
I mean,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. There had to be at least one America joke. It's a gun podcast essentially at this point.
There is everything guns. You will not escape guns in this game.
Exactly, and when we talk about literally everything is guns, we mean it's cool, it's niche, and it's creative that everything is guns. Like the loading animation is a revolver spinning. Your currency is spent shells. Like everything is guns. They're not joking about that. The enemies, which we'll talk about later, are based on guns, and the guns are guns, and that's always good to know.
Yeah, like a really cool part about this is, though the story isn't very big, it is like kind of it can get impactful kind of at the end, like just based on each character. I don't really want to spoil that because it literally comes at the very end of this game, and I know people will want to play it, especially this one if they already haven't.
100%. Yeah, that's pretty much it about the storyline. And then just another feature that is going to come up later, so might as well bring it up now, is that when we say dungeon crawler, we literally mean it's like a labyrinth-like dungeon crawler. You start at the top and you're trying to get to the gun that's on the bottom. So it's like a think of like a tower kind of vibe.
Yeah, exactly.
Just for visualization purposes.
Yeah, if you've never played, I guarantee if you've played any kind of dungeon crawler, we'll probably talk about Binding of Isaac at some point, but it's like any top-down perspective kind of game that you kind of just delve deeper and deeper until you get to the end.
Exactly. Well, let's move on to the graphics.
Graphics and art.
Take it away, Tam. You first.
God damn. These graphics are beautiful, especially when you take into account that one person drew it and one person designed it. The artist was a guy named Joe Hardy, and it was designed by a guy named Dave Crooks. There's actually only 4 people that were a part of this game, which makes it all the more impressive to me. Just all the
wait a minute. 4 people designed this game, and it's this good?
Yeah, that's
hold on. There's 2 people on this podcast. How is our podcast not this good? What the fuck, Tom? I'm kidding.
Right?
Hold your weight. No, I'm kidding. I continue. Sorry.
No, it's all good. Like, anyway, to be designed by like basically just 2 people and like artistically made by one person, it is a beautiful game that fits together. Everything looks like it's supposed to be. And the thing that really sets it apart from any game is you will not stop encountering gun-themed stuff in this game. Like, when we talk, like, we're going to mention it before and again, everything is a gun. Anything that can be a gun is a gun in this game. And it's fucking fantastic.
Even things that shouldn't be guns are guns, frankly. But in, like, the best way. When I look at this game, I think that It reminds me of like old retro games, like that you would play on like at like an arcade or like on an SNES console, like stuff like that. But in the most nostalgic and best ways, not like at like, oh, it's 2022. Why does this game look like this? Like they really captured the retro aspect very well with the graphics of this game, and I really appreciate the attention to detail with the retro aspect.
Yeah, it's got that, it's that retro kind of feel you're after, but with that modern kind of take on it with the animation wise and the way everything is kind of cared for, like, and back then, you had all those limitations, but now that these people could take the time and really make something look beautiful, but still keep that old school feel is really something else to, behold in this game. It just,
And not to throw it back to Dead Cells, but what we talked about with Dead Cells, where it had like the pixelation effects and everything is beautifully crafted with the pixelation. And when you shoot something, every individual gun has their own pixelation effects, or the fire looks realistic, the explosions look realistic, but it keeps the retro vibe as well. So that's when I think when we get into talking about how it looks retro but modern at the same time, you didn't have all those effects with actual retro games. You had like very simplistic effects. These are smooth and modern, and they look good and feel good.
yeah, exactly. You don't get that kind of too blocky feel in the past, but it's nothing too like kind of um made to look super modern. It's that really nice kind of balance that you're after that a lot of people just kind of miss the mark on and go too heavy one way or the other.
Exactly. No, perfect. Yeah. Period on that. Perfect. Also, I think another thing that you talked about that I want to touch on too was you were saying like it was all designed by one person, and it makes it, for me, that makes it really fluid and congruent. And I kept saying congruent last time we recorded this episode, and then I'm saying it now, and I didn't even look it up if I was right. I was worried that it wasn't the right word, and then I didn't look it up. Podcasting. But everything's symmetrical, everything's congruent. Like you can definitely tell it's all made from one person's concept and then made by one artist. Like when you play games sometimes that are made by thousands of people, large teams, AAA studios, you can be in like a like a walking through somewhere, and like there's an enemy will come at you, but like that enemy doesn't look like it should be here. Nothing in this game looks like that. Everything looks like it belongs, and that's impressive to me that it's so congruent. I'm going with congruent. Double down. Final answer.
Word of the day. Ah!
PD's
Well,
Playhouse for everyone that doesn't know that reference.
Right.
You're too young to know. If you don't know PD's Playhouse is, you're a little too young to be on the show.
I was like, you were not born with the digits of 19. You were born with 2. We are not the same. Like
we're dating ourselves a little bit here.
Right? Yeah. Like, oh fuck.
But yeah, that's really all I have to say. I think the only thing that we said last time but we didn't say here is that the background is a little bit basic, but there's so much going on in the game, so many things flying at you, so many enemies, so many guns, so many effects, that if the background was also as extra, you wouldn't be able to pay attention to anything.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like there's so much going on in the foreground that actually a little bit of basic background and not going too complicated with it just adds to like the way like the game is. And I know like, like in a lot of top-down perspective it's a lot of black, but it helps you like keep your eyes focused on what you're doing all the time. And I mean the main focus like visual wise is going to be enemies, bullets in this game, anything that can hit you, which, it's good that it draws your attention that way, but to a point that you can still beautifully see everything around this game as well.
Just like when we talked about Dead Cells, how everything was so beautifully defined and had their own, unique characteristics and shapes and colors. Same thing here. Everything is exactly like what I just said. Beautifully defined shapes, colors, and characteristics.
Exactly. Like it's... if you're into that feel of game, this is definitely one that I think captures every kind of retro but modern kind of feel you're after. It's a beautiful mix of both.
Exactly. Do you have anything else you want to add before we move on to sounds?
No, I think just we've pretty much covered everything. Like I said, it was all drawn by one person, so it's really beautiful, I think, to have like one kind of person's imagination go into making all of this thing. Like Sean said, it makes something congruent, but it's also
we're to the day.
right.
Sorry.
But from being like an artist kind of perspective, it's really cool to be able to, I think, like immerse yourself and be able to design your own world the way you really want to. Is like it's something you don't often get to do, and to be able to put your whole heart into a project like that, there's just beauty in that too. It just adds to the game ever so much.
No, I totally understand what you're saying. It's almost like you don't have to compromise.
Yeah,
It's what you want it to be, and there's a beauty to that you don't get out of a lot of games.
exactly.
Hell yeah. Let's move on to sounds and music.
Sounds and music.
Let's talk about sounds and music. I think the only thing I really have to say about this game is that it does sound super well and music really well. It's just good. Okay, good night, everybody. I wanted to say, sorry. What I wanted to say was the music, like when we talked about Dead Cells, and sorry to keep throwing it back to previous episodes, but we're podcasters. That's what we do. To make you go watch the other episodes is it's a little trade secret. Is that the music is frantic. It's frantic, but it's loud, but it's never overbearing, and it fits the situations. I think that's we said it with Dead Cells, and we're saying it here. It's exactly the same. It's frantic and loud, but it fits the situation in every aspect.
Yeah, like basically everything feels very alive in this game. Like not just enemy wise, but like the music feels like it's out to get you as well at some points. Like it keeps
That's
you
a really interesting way to say that. I've never heard anyone say that. It's out
yeah.
to get you. The music.
I mean, it could be. And it's not even like a horrifying way, but it keeps you frantic enough that it keeps you immersed, but like, it keeps you energized, but it gives you that frantic kind of excited energy to a point that it almost like scares you in a way. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. It gets your adrenaline up. It gets you pumped. It gets you moving. But
Yeah.
it keeps you moving so you're not dying to bullets. Not so you're, like it's not Eye of the Tiger, but
Yeah.
it's not a Rocky montage. But it's don't get hit by the bullets in the face montage.
Right. Also want to mention that it was made by one guy. His name is Does One. I'm sorry, I'm not
I said
sure how to
I
say
said
that.
Dose last time, but
Dose,
like that's
yeah.
my. I mean, we're filthy Americans. We're gonna mispronounce everything. Our education ain't very good. We're just two guys talking about pixels.
Right? He just I don't actually I think he mentioned he was like a rapper or something on his like Wikipedia page. I'm like, who is this man when I was looking him up? So I'm like, so wait, a rapper made this? Interesting. But
That's awesome. Rappers can do anything now. It's 2020, Tom. God. I'm kidding. Um, so another thing that I think I love about this game's sound design is that I mean it's about guns. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But there's the butt shit. That the guns, the shots sound good because you 90% of this game is shooting. You're going to be shooting or getting shot at, and the guns sound good. The sound effects for the actual like weapons in this game sound neat and interesting, and a lot of them have unique and cool sounds. And I think that's another just like attention to detail that you only get from letting one person do something that you're not going to get from like a Call of Duty ass situation.
yeah, like every gun you'll get has its own specific sound, and it feels like it fits that gun. Like there's so many just little sound effects in this game, like that go a long way into adding a lot to it. That it really helps it out. Another sound effect I will never get tired of is like when you first start out and you fall down the dungeon. There's like this little kind of, and it's a really just nice fall down sound effect. I don't know why I like it so much, but I do.
No, that's awesome that you have like something specific that you like about it. I'm happy that you have that because
Right?
again, like that's just attention to detail, something small. I like a lot of the sounds the enemies make when they appear or disappear. That's something I really enjoy too.
Yeah, there's tons of sounds in this game, but each one feels like they fit like the motion or each character or each gun or what you're doing very well. And that's a really cool attention to sound effects that like, sometimes you get like in some games, you'll touch something and it does not sound like that's how that's supposed to sound. Like, I'm gonna reference Skyrim here, that like no sound that you do anything sounds like it should sound like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Skyrim's a great game. Do not lynch me for that, but you have to
Hot
admit,
take.
pick up a book in that game real quick, or swing your goddamn sword at something.
I got a book in real life. Let me pick it up. How's it sound? That's what a book sounds like. Okay, Skyrim, I'm coming for you.
Skyrim is like, I'm like, fucking, what do you do picking up that goddamn book?
This is the loudest book in history. Fuck. Stick around for the Skyrim episode, everybody. It's gonna be goddamn brutal.
Right? Like, I'm just saying, sound-wise, this game, like, every sound fits what you're doing in this game, like, unlike some other ones. Not to pick Skyrim apart too much, but yeah,
Yeah,
the
we'll
sound
save
effects.
that. That'll come
yeah.
later. Fuck. Apparently. I didn't even know we were gonna have to do a Skyrim episode.
I don't
but I
think
guess
we're gonna have to, because that's definitely not an
AAA.
indie game.
Yeah,
but...
that's AAA. Maybe we'll pick apart like Skyrim mods. That's because mods are made by individuals usually. Dude, okay, hold on. Random. I was on TikTok today. And it was like, hi, I replaced all the dragons in Skyrim with, and then like it drops in and it's the state of Ohio. It's just like, and then it breathes fire, and I'm like, oh my god, those are the people we need to get on the podcast. I want to pick that guy's brain. Fuck.
The state of Ohio.
Yeah, it's just like the outline.
What's that coming at me? Alabama, Idaho.
Alabama, Idaho. Oh, that's a streamer. That's a throwback. No one said Alabama, Idaho in a minute. Oh,
I want that on a T-shirt.
I have it on a T-shirt. I have it ready to make. I just no one has asked me if they want it yet, but I can make it. Hey, podcast listeners, you want Alabama, Idaho T-shirts? Because we have them.
You might want one. It's the best reference.
All right, let's move into features and content.
Features and content.
God damn, this is a way better episode than the last one. Who even care? The last episode, who?
Yeah.
This is professional. This is better.
We're doing throwbacks to nobody has an idea what we're talking about, because like maybe
I'm a pretty decent streamer. People know about me.
I'm just
people know,
but like I'm just saying, yes, people know a lot of it, but to specifically remember, I think Alabama, Idaho.
So that's like 3 years ago. No one remembers that shit.
Right.
All right, let's talk about let's dig into the main part of this game. The thing that everybody's wondering, the thing that everybody came here for, the weapons. Let's talk about the weapons first.
Oh my god, there are almost too fucking many to talk about in this game. I'm just gonna list off maybe like a handful of them real quick once I have my list up and now it's gone. Let's see. The eliminator, the bullet, the shell, the hyperlight blaster, the boxing glove, the Mirakov. Here's a regular one, the 1911. But then you get like the Jolter, the AK-47, the JK-47, Shade's revolver, a Knight's gun, hey, look, a regular shotgun. But then you get a bubble blaster. You don't know what you're gonna get in this game, and that's why it keeps it interesting.
100%. There's so many weapons in this game. I'm gonna be honest, my headset died during that, so I didn't hear if you said the exact number. But no, there's a lot, and I think like it's around like 300-ish different guns, and each one is pretty much incredibly different and has different things that it does. I mean, talk about your favorite gun. Let's talk about our favorite guns. What's your favorite gun,
Tom? Probably the bullet or the shell gun, which is a gun that's a bullet that fires guns that shoots bullets.
That is the most American sentence I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, it is. It is literally probably the most. As soon as I got it, I'm like, wait a minute, what is this? And you just shoot it, and a whole bunch of handguns just come out and they shoot. And I'm like, God damn, why isn't this designed yet? Like, why has nobody made this?
That's awesome. I think my favorite gun I just like creative stuff. So there's like a gun where it's like a mailbox and it shoots out mail, and then at the end of every clip when you're about to reload, it shoots out a package that explodes. And I don't know, it was just fun. It was just fun to me because it's like I was making a bunch of when I was streaming it, I was making a bunch of jokes like I'm going postal or like, just like go that kind
Oh
of
man.
spigot jokes. The guns are like both creative and funny, and some of them are just regular, and I love that about it. That they took just basically anything they could get their hands on and made it into a gun. Like no idea was too out there for them, and I love that about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You could get like a regular gun in this game, which sometimes you will, but most of the time you're definitely not going to get something normal for the most part. Like you might just get like I said a regular shotgun, but most of the time you're just going to experience some kind of weird ass gun that you're going to have to learn how to use and the
Oh,
effects of like and each one comes with their pros and cons, you know.
yeah, for reference, like you get a shotgun, and then you'll be like doing something, and then you'll get a gun called like the Corsair, which is just like a fucking ship that fires, or no, a gun that fires ships. Right? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
you have to like try to fly around the room, and it's like, and when I say ships, I mean like old fashioned pirate ships, like not like cool steamline cruiser. Which they should
Right?
make another gun that does that. That'd be tight.
Yeah.
Idea for them.
Another really random one of my favorites is like a huntsman, which is a gun that's an axe, and every time you reload, you also like swing the thing. So like you just like you can get really close to people and just shotgun blast them, and then reload as you like swing an axe in their face. It's very. I'm like, how has this not been in a horror movie yet? This is the perfect horror movie weapon.
I'm sure. I'm sure it's in a couple horror games that I play, so I'm sure that it's probably been in a horror movie at some point. But I get what you're saying. It is I like how there's also like references with a lot of the guns or like memes hidden in them, and you can tell that there was a labor of love of people creating things that they actually want to create it with no oversight about it. I love that.
Yeah, I think God, my most random funny experience picking up this game weapons in this game was at first I got like an AK-47 like I mentioned before. But then later you pick up like a JK-47, which is like a limp dick kind of looking AK-47 that just flops everywhere. It's so like useless, but it's such a fun fucking gun, and it literally just makes the stupidest like sound
Yeah.
effects like
Oh
just
god, that's what. Then that referencing back to the sounds, that's and the graphics, like those are both tied in here with the content. It's just like the sound that the gun makes is so. When you said it, it reminded me how dumb it sounds. Sorry.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's the point. Like every single like gun even sounds like it's supposed to, and it's like a gun that will do random things, you know, and it just won't sound the same as any other ones.
100%. We should move on to items though. What are items in this game?
Um, so there is a ton, and you know, just like guns, there's a ton of different items in this game. I don't have a list of exactly how many. I'm sure there's probably like at least 100 or two fucking hundred of them. Who the hell knows? Like they did so much in this game, like to make sure you don't get the same run through every time, you know. Um, but like you could end up with some kind of like normal kind of thing that's like, hey, this is gonna kind of help you with bullet spread, or here's like a laser sight. But then you'll also get ones that's like, hey, you're gonna bounce bullets off the wall, which is really kind of like a cool effect you can get.
100%. I like to think of items in this game a lot like I would reference like traits in other games. Like some of them are passive and some of them are activatable in the moment. But they are effectively the same thing as traits in other games. But they're usually you can pick them up off the ground. They're not, you can buy them in stores, but they're not like earned. I don't think in any way, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like there's I'm sorry, what did you say there again, bro?
Oh, I was just saying that, so like in other games, sometimes you have to like achieve specific things to get a trait. In this game, it's like you either find them on the ground or you buy them. Correct?
Yeah, yeah, and you can find them in chests too. Is the thing
Yeah,
like
that was the main difference between it being a trait instead. It's an item, like you just find it.
Yeah, exactly. Like you have to pick up like one. Sometimes like a random funny one is like there's like angry bullets in this game that like can sometimes like your bullets will literally just start hating people for no reason. I don't know why, but it's so stupid and
Yo,
funny.
the internet does that to me all the time, so I feel it. Respect
Right.
to those bullets.
Yeah, exactly. Like the items like can be just as stupid and awesome as the weapons. You know, of course the main focus is on the weapons and stuff, but I mean like the items you pick up are definitely needed to complete the gungeon. Like you're going to need to pick up like some of the best items you can get along with the best weapons you can get. Otherwise you don't have, stand a chance.
Yeah, you gotta figure out what you like, what you don't like. Just like with every other game we've talked about, you gotta figure out your personal combos and what you can play
Right.
to make
Yeah.
it to a different level, essentially.
Yeah, and you'll be able to pick up more items through NPCs later in the game. Like you'll be able to get ones that are in the gungeon permanently. So like definitely ones that are helpful are like more health containers. You want as many of those as you can get because you only have like 3 hits in this fucking game before you die. So
And there's a lot more than 3 bullets on your screen if you're wondering at all time.
yeah.
Moving on, let's talk about the characters themselves. I think that'd be a good just giving people a general overview of the 4 characters.
Yeah. So character wise, they're starting out. There's 4 of them. Each distinctly different. Like video game trope wise, of course, there's like a marine, a pilot, a criminal, and I think the more weird one is like the huntsman. Like I think like each of them is cool though because they are different than each other, and they fit into the game like really cool, and they each have their own like quirky little backstory that just adds that needed bit of freshness.
And also, when we talk about how they're different, like their designs are also uniquely, completely different than anything else in the game. They have like unique designs that differentiate them between each other as well. Did you happen to have a favorite character, and if so, who?
To me, it's the pilot. Like he's kind of my kind of character, like I don't know, I kind of like being like that Han Solo type, but with almost like a sassier kind of greaser kind of throwback. Like he's purposely arrogant for like the funny kind of reason, and I just kind of am drawn to that. Plus he has like a really cool ability like lock picking in that game, so you can like if you're out of keys or whatever, you can try to pick like the lock of a chest, and you'll be able to sometimes get the item inside, and that's like permanent through the gungeon, so that's like really helpful going in. What about you?
I think my favorite would definitely have to be the hunter. Just for the straight up fact that it you get a corgi, you get a dog that follows you around, and it is cute as hell, and I love that. For no other reason. Also, I guess the starting item for them, the bow, is really powerful on like basic floors.
Yeah, it's really nice to be able to have it because like he'll be able to like dig stuff up too, like occasionally like some armor or like half a heart or even occasional keys like that are throughout the floor, which is pretty cool. It's usually a pretty low chance of it, but to be able to have that option is something that no other character gets, which is really nice.
Yeah, and plus he's just adorable because corgis.
Yeah, exactly. Like who doesn't want a corgi? Like it adds a little bit of brightness into the foreboding darkness
of the game. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, that's pretty much anything all about the characters. Let's move on to the enemy types then. What are enemies like in this game?
There's a ton of them. Like there's about
how many exactly? I need a number, damn it.
101.
Nice. You came up with that pretty quick.
I was ready for the question, goddammit. Like
he studied, he pre-studied, he cheated.
Right. Each enemy you're gonna face in this game, first you're gonna start off with like the basic form of each enemy, but not gonna lie, even the basic ones are hard as hell in this game.
Yeah, it doesn't pull punches almost at all.
Yeah, like first floor onward, it's it's a hard kind of game, you know, it's made to be. But what I really like about every character in this game is that each one is like they look different, but occasionally you'll get like the same kind of enemy, but you'll notice just like a little extra feature on them. You know, you'll notice like sometimes the first bullet you face, like the next floor you might go down and he'll be wearing like a bandana and he'll be able to like directly home in on where you're going and time his shots perfectly, like versus like the basic one, which is like will kind of aim where you are, but his bullets will never really follow you. And that's like a really just nice touch to like nudge you to know, like, hey, this is that kind of enemy, but it's gonna be way fucking harder. So.
Yeah, it's a scaling difficulty, but it scales. Well, this is something I was going to talk about later, but it scales dramatically. When Tom was talking about it too, but it is unforgiving. I'm just going to talk about it for a second. The first time I played this game, I breezed. Honestly, I pretty much breezed through the first level. I was like, okay, I understand how to play this game. I played top down dungeon crawlers, whatever. This is not bad. Breezed through the first level. And I'm like, I'm gonna fucking win this, no problem, first try. Confidence, get to the second level, and the skill, like I just got shit rocked in the first, I would say, 5 seconds of being on that level, because it's the difficulty increase was just unbearably insane, and it felt horrible the first time because you're like, holy shit, I thought I was doing so well, but it's just because I didn't know the enemies, and we're talking about enemies, so like I was like, oh, that enemy was from the level above, I should have learned how it worked instead of just breezing through. So learning the enemies is a super crucial part of this game, and also understanding that the enemies scale their difficulty. And I think the game itself also gets harder the longer you play it. I think that was a conspiracy that was going around on my stream. A lot of people were saying that. I don't know if I never looked it up, so I don't know if it was true, and I don't know if they ever talked about it. But the longer, like time-wise, you play this game, every run, the harder the difficulty gets.
I mean,
what people were saying. So I don't know if that was true.
The more floors you get to, it does seem to do that occasionally, but there's nothing to like prove wise there. Maybe it's
I was saying like even if you play for like 40 minutes and you go back to the first floor, it'll be super difficult on the first floor. That's what they were telling me. I don't know. I forgot to mention that.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, they might have just been gaslighting me a little bit. My stream sucks. Chatters, you guys suck. But that's what I was told. But I'm totally. It felt like it really did feel like that though. But that's probably just based on the frustration of getting my shit rocked by enemies so often.
Right, man. Another part of me, like enemy wise in this game that I really love too, is that like each one you're gonna be able to tell how they're gonna shoot based on what they are. Like, for instance, like the first floor you'll get pistol enemies and they're shaped like pistols, or shotgun shells and they're shotguns. And then the next floor there's sniper rifles, and guess what? They're sniper rifle bullets. That's
It's
just
like
a
what we
cool
mentioned,
random touch.
It's like it's that term we mentioned before. You got that gamer brain. Everything is predictable, but predictable for a reason. If they're shaped like a shotgun, it's gonna shoot close range shotgun shots. If it's shaped like a sniper rifle, it's gonna shoot sniper rifle shots. It's predictable, and you got that gamer brain, and it's one of those things where it works out and it feels good because it works out that way.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things that just kind of like it tricks your brain into knowing what enemy it is and what they're gonna do before you even fire the first shot. You kind of can tell like what they're gonna do essentially. It just like it's very good at hinting at enemy kind of type. And what I like is like almost every enemy in this game is bullet theme, like with a few exceptions, but just needed wise, almost everything is bullet shaped and looks bullet wise.
Yeah, they really held onto that gun niche, and that goes double for the enemies, and that's awesome to see. It's like what we talked about with the creative designs of the guns. They have creative designs of the enemies as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's crazy just to look at every enemy because like you're probably going to get decimated by every single one in this game. Like no matter what, I've been killed by every single enemy, and
yeah, same.
Yeah, it just got it. They hurt like so bad because like no matter what, you'll get the same amount of damage, but you're going to have to learn that new enemy, and it's just sometimes you get like an overpowered weapon and you can just like kind of breeze through like new enemies, but then like once you actually learn how good they are when you don't have as good of one, oh man, they will just decimate you.
Definitely. I want to talk about that later when we get to replayability. That's one of the things I want to talk about for sure. But let's move on to the levels. So in this game, levels are procedurally generated, so they're never going to be the same. You are obviously trying to get to the bottom level, which is always a certain amount of levels down. But the levels themselves on each level are procedurally generated, which just basically means that they're random every time. Which is something that I respect about this game because usually with like dungeon crawlers or certain other games, you can just die your way through a dungeon. Like you can die your way through the game. Like you're like, oh, if I just keep dying, I'll eventually learn the path, and I can just cheese the path. In this game, since it's procedurally generated, everything is random. Your guns, your enemies, your paths. It's never going to be the same, and so therefore you actually just have to play it every single time with the intention of playing it instead of just dying your way through. And I love that about it.
Yeah, exactly. Like it really rewards you for learning the ways of this game, based on just levels alone, which you're gonna have to learn to be able to go through this game, like, and each time, like, yes, you're gonna die, but you can't just cheese your way to get through, like, these dungeons at all, like, the levels will punish you for doing so.
And like we previously talked about, they get harder and harder at every single level. Like first level, breeze through, easy, no problem, whatever. Second level, get your shit rocked, and it just goes up and up and up from there. And there's more and more enemies, more and more bullets. There's so much going on, and that's something about this game that I think is severely I've not experienced in a lot of games. Is that there's so much going on at all times. There's always a million things flying your way, and it just gets harder and harder on every consecutive level that you go down.
Yeah, and we're not just talking like enemy and like kind of bullet wise, but we're talking like these levels are out to fucking kill you too. Like with like trick floors, fucking fire traps, literal the first floor you're on, you won't really experience any kind of floor traps that are gonna get you too much, but as soon as you hit level 2, literally it's like, hey, here you go, flip the fucking goddamn board on the game.
Yeah, it's essentially like what we were just saying that there's the scaling is insane. It's just insane. You get to level 2 and you just get your shit rocked immediately. But I appreciate it personally. Also, along with levels, we're talking about like traps and secret floors and stuff like that. There's secret rooms in this game, just like a lot of other games that are along the same veins. And that's something that I didn't experience until a lot later. But secrets in this game are really cool and really powerful once you get the hang of how to use them. And Tom can talk better about this. He's played a lot more.
Yeah, so like each floor, it kind of uses like I talk about that gamer brain mentality a lot, but each kind of thing hints like kind of Legend of Zelda wise, I'll say, in this game to like what you're supposed to do to get the secrets in this game. Like sometimes you'll literally run into a room and it's just gonna be like a dead end, but you're gonna know it's like a fireplace. But then you'll be walking around and you'll notice there's a barrel you can push around, and it's just like a water barrel to put out the fire that leads to like secret levels in this game. And that's a really cool thing that never teaches you or hints at, but like you'll be able to figure it out even without watching a video on it. And that's one of the cooler things. I enjoy secrets that you can figure out naturally level wise versus like having to look up like a playthrough to figure out exactly how to do something.
Exactly. Yeah, it feels more just like better to figure something out for yourself than to have someone show you. I'm gonna reference another game here, but like a game that I loved dearly but hated the secret spaces in was Hollow Knight, and this game did not do it like Hollow Knight. I was mad all the time at how many secret spots there were in Hollow Knight that were necessary to progress the game. But in this game, the secret things aren't necessarily necessary, and they are once you played it a couple times, easier to see and figure out. Oh, like like Tom was saying, there's a fireplace there. Why is there a fireplace there? Not there's a wall here that you would never guess you need to hit. Like that's a rage for Hollow Knight, which eventually we'll do.
Yeah, I will
Can't-
say that is a true point because there is one that enters like an entire area
Oh my
that
god, the beachcomb fucking
yeah.
thing.
I
Oh
told you
god.
about I remember telling you how to enter that area and you're like, "How?" And I'm like, "You have to hit this one wall over the spikes that's a very forgettable spot in the game that you will never see."
Yeah, but this game doesn't do stuff like that. It's actually just really well thought out. Which when we talk about the gamer brain mentality, where there's a fireplace here. Why is there a fireplace? There's a crack in the wall. Why is there a crack in the wall? Like I need to check this out. Like it's very predictable, but predictable in a way that's rewarding.
Yeah, you'll know what to do, but it feels good to like find those rewards like each level wise, and it's still going to be hard to like find them and spot them particularly, especially when we're talking like there's like secret rooms in this game per level that you can only find using like blanks that you save up in this game, which we'll get into blanks later, but it'll let you occasionally find like a special room and there's not even a hint at like that. But for some reason like you'll know when it's there and when it's not, and it's hard to explain until you play it.
So play it and then come back to us.
Yeah.
Let's move on to something that I personally loved about this game and something that I love about all of these types of games, dungeoneering, roguelite, stuff like that, is boss fights. Are there any boss fights in this game? And if so, let's talk about them.
I mean, yeah. Why wouldn't there be boss fights?
I was just doing it for the intro. I know. I played it.
I know. I was like, I mean, could you imagine a dungeon crawler though without any boss fights? That would be so boring.
Oh, dude. Okay, I'm claiming this now. We're making it. No one can take this from us. It's a dungeon crawler, but there's no boss fights. Okay, it's called like no boss here. That would actually be pretty cool. Not gonna lie. I don't know. There's probably a concept for that. We could do that.
Yeah, it could be like, you know how like you never find Princess Peach in Mario, except it's like, hey,
no, the boss is at a different dungeon, bro.
Yeah, the boss is there, and you have to like clear like another map just to find
my
like
god,
the boss.
It's unsatisfactory, dude. Oh my god! And then it turns out at the end of it, you are the boss, and the townspeople fight you. Oh!
Next up on the next indie game podcast, me and Sean are making an indie game, and we're gonna review our own indie game.
I'm interviewing Tom.
So how'd you come about making this? I was talking about indie games on podcasts, and I was just like, hey, we have a stupid idea.
I mean, I'm straight up. If this podcast never generates enough revenue, we can make we can pay people to make games. I don't want to make it. I have no interest in making games. I will pay you though if we ever make
too much math. We didn't do very well in that subject.
But anyways, boss fights.
Yeah, there's a good amount in this game. There's about 9 basic ones that you'll get through the first regular few floors. But then there's also, like I said, comes with secret floors. You also get secret bosses. You get like specific bosses that you have to unlock certain ways. And each one is fucking Dark Souls level hard, if not harder.
It's really, real difficult. There's no easy boss in this game. There is after you've done it a couple times, but it still isn't like easy. It's still always going to be a challenge. You're still always at the edge of your seat. The music's always blaring. There's a million things on your screen that you're just trying to get through and play, and it's just difficult, man. And it takes a lot of attempts to get through, but it's also, like we said with Dark Souls and Moonlighter and every other game we'll probably cover, super rewarding to defeat the bosses, and it feels good.
Yeah, like, God, each one is so difficult. You have to learn the pattern of each one. You're even with good weapons, you're still hardly going to be able to like cheese bosses in this game, which I can respect because sometimes in dungeon crawlers, you'll get like a really good weapon that will still carry you through boss fights. Yeah, they're really great on other enemies, but still, even if you have like an S-rated weapon, you can still get your shit rocked by them. Like,
just by not knowing like you just said, by not knowing 100%. And I remember specifically like when I was streaming this, I was really bad at some of the boss fights, but like when I won the boss fights, like literally like standing up out of my chair and like cheering and like running around my room, like actually physically doing that because I was so excited to actually defeat the boss, which is not something you get from every game, guys. Gonna be honest with you.
Right. It's every boss, like you'll you'll feel immensely rewarded for being able to face that challenge. It's it's really hard every single one you face, from the first one to like, even if you know what you're doing against, like, sometimes like those first bosses, like, and you kind of get like cocky, you'll get your crap out shit rocked just for like not knowing, like, just not paying attention right. Like, you, every boss, even if you know it, you're gonna have to pay absolute attention to.
100%, 100%. Let's move on. Is there anything else you want to talk about in the content area? You decide.
I mean, content area wise, I mean, we were just, yeah, I mean, like, getting to, like, I think NPCs after that would be probably
Yeah.
pretty good, because, like, they're definitely a good, crucial part in this game that add a lot to it, like,
Talk about NPCs then. Yeah, I was just leaving. I've been choosing every single one, so I was just
yeah,
letting
I
you guys
gotcha.
choose it.
Yeah, I love, I, I usually hate NPCs in video games, but I love every single one in this game. Like, not only are they each different, but they each have their own kind of personality and humor to them that makes them all their own.
100%. Yeah, and the way that you get NPCs in this game is pretty cool. Like they're not just they're people in the dungeon that you can help, and then they help you in return, or they provide side quests or shops or things like that. They're not just like NPCs that exist to tell the story or drive the story forward. They're actual helping NPCs, which is super cool.
Yeah, like, each one is there to help you. And no, it's going to be actually even hard to unlock NPCs, because they're specifically locked into, randomly generated levels, like we said. So sometimes you'll see them, but you won't be able to get the key to unlock them to actually be able to get them in the upper floors. And sometimes that can make you mad, but it really just makes you want to meet these NPCs and see what they'll be able to do. Because some open shops, some offer perks, some like send you on quests that'll unlock even more stuff in the Gungeon. Like, it's really cool that each one is there to actually forward the game. So,
100%. Did you have a favorite NPC?
yeah, my favorite one is this random dude I rescued, and he always sits on the edge with his helmet off, and basically you kick it down the Gungeon every single fucking time you're by this guy. He like
Why?
I don't know. It just, one, I just like the sheer look on his face. Like the classic like turn around like really slow and like look at someone. Like, even though this game is pixelated, it captures that so perfectly, and it makes you laugh every single time. And
That's awesome.
you have to go get his helmet, but every single time you go and get it, you really can't help but kick the damn thing down. I don't know why, but it's fucking fantastic.
That's awesome. I love that. I think that we're not touching on something that I did want to touch on, which is the humor of this game. Because we were talking about, like, like all this stuff about the game, but something that I really loved was the humor, how it doesn't take itself too seriously. And that's really important in a game like this. With when you're playing a bullet hell, it can be incredibly frustrating, and you're chronically dying. You're trying to learn these enemies. That shit was bullshit. You just get angry, but the humor in the game makes it it's like a sweet underlying. Everything is kind of memey, everything is kind of funny, and like what you were saying, where you go and you kick this dude's helmet down, and it's got that slow turn. Like, the humor is fully transparent in this game, and I respect it so much. Just like when in Dead Cells, where it's dark, and the game itself is dark and it's hard, and that sucks, but it makes up for it by being funny, which is something that like, if you compare this game to other games like Dark Souls, for instance, the Dark Souls franchise. It has a lot of the same elements as Dark Souls, but I didn't like Dark Souls because it was hard all the time and never fun. And then this game is hard all the time, but funny. And that's what keeps you coming back and keeps me playing it, is the vibe and the way that they offset the bitterness of the actual game with humor.
Yeah, it really gives like that nice sense of comedy relief with being a game that because this game punishes you, and it's gonna keep punishing you because it's just so hard. But like the amount of humor just keeps you coming back and enjoying even getting your teeth kicked in by a new enemy. Like mostly because like even that new enemy will have like a good amount of humor just in the way he looks or sounds or something. Like it's not just humor based on telling jokes; it's so much more.
Yeah, 100%. It's like the characters actually are living authentic lives and finding humor in the situation that they're in, and that's something unique that you don't usually see from games with no voice acting or games with no just like four individual characters, like you know what I mean.
Right? Yeah, I love everything from the stupid puns in this game to like the fucking just comedic sense of even just the weapons in this game have a huge fun sense of comedy to each one of them. Like I mean you're gonna get guns that are just stupid and hilarious, like ones that shoot balloon goddamn animals and freaking weird stuff. Like you never know, but each one is gonna bring like so much joy into a game that is, oh god, so difficult. Like
Definitely. Hell yeah. Well, let's move on to the next segment because we are reaching like the hour mark when I don't like to go super far over that. So we'll move on to the next segment, which is movement and controls.
Movement and controls.
I'm gonna take this one first since I've been making you do everything else first. This game feels amazing. If you're making a top-down shooter and you want to make one that's good, just replicate the controls from this game. Like genuinely, that's my thought process. Whether you're playing on mouse and keyboard or controller, it didn't feel bad either way. I tried it on both as I am a PC player, but I tried it with an Xbox controller and I tried it with a mouse and keyboard, and I felt good both times. Basically, I think of it when we talked about Moonlighter and we were mad that it had a 4 directional weapon thing, but it had an 8 directional movement. This is what Moonlighter should have been. You can aim anywhere, shoot anywhere, move anywhere, and that's how it should be.
yeah, exactly. Like everything feels nice and buttery. It's got like that like kind of skating on ice feel, but like controlled wise, that's what this game kind of gives off. Like, you're always feeling like in motion, but in a good sense of way in this game. And that's before we even get into like dodge rolling. Just
Hmm.
moving around in this game like feels good.
It feels
Like,
buttery. I would say buttery as an adjective. Like
yeah.
that's how I would say it. Just feels good. And along the same lines, like the enemy movements are humorous, but like direct and sometimes truly scary. The enemy movements are just good as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like every single enemy, like they'll I mean, seriously, is probably the scariest, most aggressive waddle you will ever see coming at you. Is some of them like they look like really angry, pissed off penguins, but like,
But they have guns.
yeah,
Now I know why Batman was afraid of penguin. Okay.
right. Oh man, but I mean, that's just like the base movement in this game, and like I'm talking like next, let's just talk about like dodge rolling in this game.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, these are the best dodges I have had in any game, period. For the sheer fact of, how in Moonlighter, like I said, you'll bullshit dodge into a fucking hole sometimes and feel like
All
you
the
got
time. Holes
cheated.
everywhere.
This game, even if you dodge roll into a hole, you know it was your fault because these controls are so good. Like
100%. I agree. Yeah.
yeah, every time you dodge into a bullet, you'll be like, okay, yeah, my character was definitely going there because like the dodges are a super important part of this game. When you're not like moving and firing, you're dodging because like you can dodge through bullets, through enemies. Like you can do a lot of things with dodges. Like a lot of small niche tactic, like one I'll give you like right now if you're about to start this game is like dodging through enemies does a small amount of damage, like equal to about like one starter bullet. So if like you have
Oh
to
dang.
reload and you dodge through an enemy, you're actually gonna be like doing a little bit of damage. So it's rewarding for doing that. Especially like I figured it out roughly just by dodging through like slimes one time and it killed them. And I was like, oh, that's a really nice, useful tactic that they didn't have to include at all.
Exactly, and I'm like, I didn't know that. I know it because you told me that last episode, but I didn't know that last episode, and I was like, wait, what? And I had played the game, and I was like, you do damage when you roll. Like, I was genuinely. It's not shocking this time. I guess I can fake it. Oh my god, you do damage when you roll? No, but
Whoa.
my mind was blown. I can't replicate that because I know now, but my mind was actually blown. Um, and along the lines of the dodge roll, I've heard the best description of the dodge roll I've ever heard is the dodge roll will get you out of situations that your regular movement gets you into. Like your dodge roll button will get you out of situations that your left hand gets you into. Like because you use your left hand to move a lot. So it's just like yeah,
Yeah.
I fully agree with that. The dodge roll I've used it when you start you'll be using it as a panic like option, but when you get good, it becomes a necessity, and I think that's super cool that you get to see the transition of actual skill in this game.
Yeah, like it's really nice to be able to use it. You're once you get good, you're not going to be using it as much because you'll learn like strafing and being able to shoot is better. But it's a really nice thing to have that like kind of such a good safety net, and it feels really nice with the controls. Like
100%. Since we're on the lines of dodging, I do want to cover two other things under like the dodge category. I would put it under the same category personally.
yeah, like
Um,
control kind of wise.
Yeah, one would be cover, which in this game is important and is accessible through tables that you can flip like you're in a fucking action movie, or barrels
Yeah,
that can explode around you. But it's a really unique feature where you can like run up to a table and flip it to if you didn't get enough time to dodge, you didn't get enough time to try to strafe, you can flip a table and the table can take the shots for you. Of course, tables aren't indestructible, but it does feel very action movie-y, and I like that mechanic.
right. Yeah, it's like whenever you reload behind a table in an action movie, that's exactly what it feels like. Like that is the exact thing. Oh
I do have
man.
a request that if you play this game, send us an email of you playing it, hiding behind a table, and then sing a cool action mind quote as you run out from it. I would really like that. Thank you. I know that's a
Right.
lot of work, but if you somehow remember, do that for me. Thanks. I'll
Right.
post it on our TikTok that has no followers.
Right. Another small thing, like you can like slide over tables, which looks kind of action movie and cool every single time and feels cool because
Mhm.
like there'll be occasional levels where like 10 of them are stacked up though, and you'll like slide all the way across it like fucking almost Ferris Bueller's Day Off style, and it looks fucking ridiculous.
That's where that humor situation comes into play. Like it's just memey. It's just ridiculous, and it's good. It feels nice. I
Yeah.
think the other mechanic that I wanted to talk about was something that is vital to this game that I think we've been saving until this point, which is the blanks.
Oh yeah, like God, I don't even think we talked about that last
We
time.
didn't, no, we didn't,
Yeah.
and that's why I was like, I got to make sure to bring it up because it's a vital part of this game. But it does fit into under the movement control section. So
Right. Yeah. So you want to talk about those blanks, man?
I'd like you. I feel like you have more experience with them.
Oh,
You were itching to talk about it earlier, so
okay. So blanks are kind of like your last level of defense in this game. Like I usually save them, especially till boss fights, or like what I'll get into later is secret rooms. But what I like to do is use them in boss fights because there's going to be parts where you're going to get trapped way into a corner and literally there's nowhere to dodge, nowhere to strafe, nowhere to do anything. But for a split second, like it will get rid of all the bullets on the screen. Like for a second, it just evaporates all of them. So it gives you a chance to get to a safe place. And that's a really just nice small thing to have. Like I said, the dodge roll is a safety net. This is like a huge safety net. Granted, you only get like 2 of these per floor, but they come in huge handy in the control wise.
and that's not even talking about like how it feels to use a blank successfully and
Mhm.
live because you used it successfully. Like
Yeah,
that is during a boss fight when your entire screen is full of bullets and you're thinking, I'm gonna die. Like there is nothing I can do here. I have backed myself in a corner. I misplayed this, and then just be like, oh shit, I have a blank. Like this is my one shot, and it feels action movie. It feels really cool to be
right.
able to live through stuff like that. It's a
Yeah,
very cool part of the game that you like if Dark Souls added something like that, I'd probably play Dark Souls more. You get like
yeah.
one shot. If you had one shot, I know that We can't afford Eminem.
No, we cannot. But yeah, another great thing about the blanks is like I said, mentioning back with secret rooms, is some are only accessible if you use blanks. Like, so it's like if you're gonna go through it, and if you're in that tight spot, are you going to use that blank, or are you gonna save it and potentially risk getting hit and losing like a heart just to be able to go into that secret room later, and just for a chance of that with using blanks.
100%. It's that high risk, high reward situation that we talked about with Dead Cells
Yeah,
and Moonlighter.
right.
Honestly, we need to talk about a different kind of game. We keep talking about the same game. No kidding.
Right, yeah, we've talked a lot about like these procedurally generated kind of games lately, but these are like kind of ones that I think a lot of indie developers kind of gravitate to, just because they're a lot of fun, and two, it just keeps everything fresh and makes you want to keep playing it.
100%. I'd love to see more games exactly like this, but with a different niche.
Yeah,
Truly, like, I mean, this one's just a gun niche. Like, make one make a different kind of one. And I don't know, I just off the top of my head, like fully off the top of my head, make one about like trees, and every enemy is a different tree, and when you look up at the book, it actually like tells you about the trees. Like, that'd be tight. I'd play that. Like, same kind of vibe, you know what I mean? But like totally different game. You could do stuff like that. Like, you call like Enter the Arboreum or some shit.
right. I'm gonna just mention one now, and that's like Wizard of Legend is this game, but with wizards.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I want to play more games like this because you can niche out. The whole game is that it's a niche of something that everyone loves already.
Yeah, like it's really fun to be able to play these dungeon crawlers, just because like everything just feels fresh every time you play them.
Also, I'm never gonna make any of these games, so if you guys want to take them and make them, just like credit me, thanks.
Right.
I don't. You can like buy me some beer. I'll be fine. I'm gonna see you later though. I think that's it for moving and controls, right?
Yeah, you guys have been sued for copyright by Ligma.
Who's Ligma, Tom?
Ligma balls.
Closing thoughts.
I timed that perfectly. So closing thoughts. I fucking hate you.
Oh man.
Where are we at on the replayability of this game? Let's talk about the replayability.
Huge, high, and needed to progress in this game. Like, I mean, it like forces you to replay, but in the good kind of way that makes you want to replay this game. Like, even when you beat it, you're not done beating this game.
Yeah, 100%. And like, there's not really much I can add. That's just directly how it is. It's forced replayability, but in the best kind of way, where it feels good to replay and it's necessary to replay, but it doesn't feel bad. It's one of those things you can put down, pick up, and keep playing and have a good time with every single time.
Yeah, I mean, just in the way like replayability is, like, you'll want to like beat this game with every character, and then you're gonna realize, like, just a little bit of spoiler here, but once you beat it with
hold on. Come back in a minute if you don't want spoiler. Go.
Yeah, you will unlock 4 more characters after that, and like each of them have their own abilities and their own story and why they're at the gungeon, and like there's even a character that's another fucking bullet. Like,
I didn't know that. I didn't come back in a minute.
Right? I did it.
Fucked up.
Oh man, but like I love that aspect. Like the replayability, like ending wise in this game, the first one isn't even the real ending. Which, by the way, since we're on spoiler news, the ending is you shoot yourself in the head. Like, that's it. You get a gun that's pointed directly at your skull, and you just shoot yourself. That's the gun that kills your past. Like, congrats.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't lie. Semantics. Trauma be damned. Shot that shit away.
But that is the fake ending, not the true ending. To get the true endings, you have to do very specific things. So I actually gave you a fake ending, so technically not a spoiler / spoiler.
Oh my god. We're inceptioning you right now. Spoiler / not spoiler out here.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Like it's a spoiler, but it's technically a fake spoiler.
100%. But at the end of the day, you got to replay this game, and not just because you have to replay it, because you want to replay it, and that's really an important distinction to realize.
Yeah, you're never gonna get the same gun twice. You're never gonna get the same item twice. You're never gonna even run in the same enemy types in the same room twice most of the time. Like it's really fun to be able to mess around with the combos in this game that you get with every gun and the funness you get out of every single one through every playthrough, and how every single playthrough is different and feels different in a game that's so much the same is awesome.
Nailed it. Yeah, I don't even have anything to add. Where would you put this on a fun factor scale between 1 and 10?
Fun factor, I'll give this like a nice solid 9, just because the controls feel good, every enemy feels good, the guns feel good. It's fun, like no matter how you play it. Rage side, probably like a solid 8.7 out of 10. Like that's this game will fill you with not just delight, but also a good amount of fury of the gods. So
100%. I think on fun wise, I definitely put it around an 8 for me. For every reason that you said, just like everything is unique and fun, and every time you play it is different, and it's always an enjoyable time to pick up and put back down. And I find myself coming back to this game whenever I get bored of playing another game, and enjoying it, or even just like streaming it. Side note: if you're a streamer, it has an amazing community. People are incredibly accepting and will give you helpful hints and talk to you all the way through. At least that was my experience, and other people in my experiences community, or my community's experiences with this game, for streaming wise. And rage wise, yeah, I'm gonna give it about a 9. I got pretty fucking mad a lot of the time with this game because I failed a lot. I'm not gonna lie, there were some nights where my death count was in the high double digits.
yeah, like thank God for that humor. Otherwise, my Switch probably would have been broken like a good
Oh my
amount of
god, just
time
snap
ago.
it over your knee, bro.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yep.
Holy shit. Did you have a favorite part of this game and a least favorite part of this game?
One random bit, I've already mentioned a little bit of my favorite a long time ago, which is definitely kicking that dude's helmet down
Oh,
like
for
the
sure.
fucking well. That's a good favorite part of the game that feels hilarious every single time. But another favorite slash least favorite thing in this game, yeah, that's right. One thing can actually be like both in this game, and that's hats. Like
Forgot about hats.
fucking god damn these hats. Like in Dead Cells, they're just totally useless, but unlike Dead Cells, I don't mind them to a point that I'm kind of addicted to buying them. Like I could be buying other helpful items or weapons, but I'm addicted to buying these hats that do absolutely nothing because they up your coolness, and you really want to look cool in this game. And like that's why it's my favorite and not favorite, because yeah, I'm addicted to buying this like someone who goddamn needs their Adderall from time to time. But I need my hats, okay?
I
Like
need my hats.
that's why it's because they do absolutely nothing like every other item and weapon in this game. But you get a
That's
really cool hat.
that's so awesome. You look rad as fuck.
You do. It literally gives you rad points and cool points per hat. So like
I
you
don't even
feel
get
obligated.
I don't even get those in real life. This is bullshit.
Yeah.
I think my favorite part of the game would probably be one of the bosses in particular is a big ass buff bird that flexes and loses all its feathers. And I think that every time I see it, like how you were talking about when you kick the thing down, it brings you joy. When this stupid ass bird, it's like one of the first bosses, flexes and loses all its feathers and it's just buff as fuck, I just laugh every single time. Like it's dumb and I love it. And that ties into the humor. I just love the humor of this game. That's my favorite part. My least favorite part is the specific fucking enemy. It's the stupid coffin thing that like opens upwards and shoots out like these laser beams everywhere. And it's like it's like on level 2. It's not even like a hard like enemy per se, but when you first experience it, you're like, oh, it's like a cop, and then it opens up and you're dead, and you're just fucking dead, and it sucks, and I hate it, and I've died to it way too many times for it to be fun anymore.
Yeah, it's one of the hardest enemies randomly in the game, and it shows up in level 2, and it literally opens fire shots in every direction that will home in on like not just you, but where you're going. So it's almost impossible to dodge away. And the only way you can attack it is when it's open and literally firing shots all over the screen.
Oh, the bird just showed. Okay. For reference, this is a live podcast. We're watching a video of the game. The bird boss just showed up right now, and it's buff. Yes.
Yes, the caca, like fucking.
It's called a Gatling Gull, bro. The rapid fire raptor. Yeah, that sounds like a toy by Hasbro. Hasbro Rapid Fire Raptor Gatling Gull edition. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
dumb, just dumb, and I love it. I love it so much. Is there any games that this game reminds you of?
Specifically wise, I'd probably say like Binding of Isaac. Is a pretty close kind of game to this. Binding of Isaac doesn't have like kind of the Binding of Isaac is more that rogue kind of game versus roguelite, where you don't get like additional items and weapons, which this game really adds that kind of in there, which is why I prefer kind of roguelike games. But I'd say that's a pretty close comparison.
100%. I would say, for me, it reminds me specifically Void Ego. I know Void Ego came out a lot after this game, and it was probably heavily based on this game, but they're incredibly similar. And Void Ego was also based on Nuclear Throne, which I heard is very similar as well. I haven't played Nuclear Throne, but from just looking it up and looking at how it, videos of it and stuff, very similar games, equally pretty much along the same genre lines.
Yeah, you'll have a lot of fun with Nuclear Throne as well if you kind of like this style game. Like that's another great like top-down roguelike game that's a lot of fun to play.
Hell yeah, I gotta get on that. Anything else you want to add?
Let me kind of just think here just for a sec. I guess like all I wanted to really say is like I'd really recommend you pick up this game, not just for like if you enjoy dungeoneering kind of games, you're gonna love this one. Like this is top tier, just like a nice fresh take on them. Everything feels good, everything looks good, everything's different and gives like that fresh feel. Like I said, it just is gonna grip you in, and though it's super hard, it immerses you in like the best ways.
100%. I agree. You should definitely pick up this game. I mean, it's made by 4 people, man. Support those 4 people.
Yeah.
Along the same lines, this game does have a sequel. This game is called Enter the Gungeon. The sequel is called Exit the Gungeon, which one you're going down, the other you're going back up, and that's super funny to me. I really like seeing sequels with where they have like a pun and play on words kind of thing to the first one. It's like a throwback. And also, they recently released another one called I forgot the specific name, but it's like House of the Gundead, and that was made on to be an arcade machine game. So like specifically, it is a arcade machine game. Like you'd go to like a 90s, or 80s arcade and play it on there. And this is on the Wikipedia. You can buy it's in like pre-release, or at least it was in 2019, and you can buy it for like $4,999, which is crazy, but like fund it, maybe chat. We'll talk about it,
Right? Yeah. I if you guys give us $5,000, we will definitely buy that arcade cabinet. I don't even care like if I have any other bills.
Yeah, I probably would. Yeah, truly, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Fucking, that would be the most insane like purchase I think of my life. And people will be like, "How did you justify buying that?" I'd be like, "I had no choice."
I made a deal. I made a deal. Another random fact about this game correlates with the fact that I've heard from, I don't know, again, unverified sources, my chat, quote unquote, on Twitch. I'm a huge VR fan, virtual reality, and I've heard that they're actually porting the House of the Gundead to virtual reality. Hopefully soon. That is a total rumor. I've seen it in a couple YouTube videos, and I heard it from my chat. So don't quote me on that. But if that's true, I will be picking it up and playing it 5 sure, because this game is insane, and I can't imagine it in virtual reality. Just like, holy shit.
I mean, this game is already impossible. This in VR, I think, would just sheerly be almost unbeatable. Like,
worth it though. 100% worth it either way, I would think.
Right? I would just be really stoked to see each of the weapons and how they perform in
VR.
Yeah,
like if you could like hold it. Oh, that'd be so cool, actually.
Like
I
if
really
you incorporate all 300 of these weapons into that game, like,
count me in, bro. I'll pay whatever the price is. I'll pay $150 for that game, straight up.
Right.
Like, I'm bad at money apparently.
Like, I will just be waggling around that JK-47 for like 40 fucking minutes straight. Like, fucking.
That's awesome. Well, let's start wrapping up this podcast. Next week, guys, we are going to have a first for this podcast. We're gonna have our first ever guest. It's gonna be one of my dear friends, Matt. Matt, to understand what he does, he writes about video games. So he will be coming on and talking to us about a game that I know and love, and I'm pretty sure Tom knows and love. Katana Zero.
Yeah, that's a really fun, nice game. Like, it incorporates stealth action and platforming in a really
And the
nice
story.
way.
The story is
Yeah.
the thing that gets me about it. So that's what I'm going to talk about mostly next week, I think. But we'll have Matt on here to talk about that with us. And of course, I'm excited about that for sure. I totally forgot what I was going to say. I'm going to be honest with you. Tell them where they can find you, Tom, if you want to be found.
You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, my Facebook, all Tom Dykers tattoos, or Anchor 13 tattoos, where you can typically find my artwork. Message me about indie games, anything like that. That's where I typically take it. It's the same account I use for tattooing, but I still love to talk games on there. So feel free to hit me up with any kind of content or questions you'd really like to discuss and talk about.
Hell yeah. And on the flip side of that, my name is Sean. I stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday on a little platform called Twitch. My name on there is Sean is a Ginger, SEAN is a Ginger, all one word. Your new favorite Viking variety streamer. I drink a lot and play a lot of indie games and also a lot of major games too. I play a little bit of everything. You can also find me on every social with the same name, Sean is a Ginger. I make a lot of TikToks, but TikTok's actually blowing up right now as we speak, so going well.
Right.
Of course, guys, if you are a developer that wants to tell us about your indie game and talk to us about it, please send us an email. It's blockbrospodcast@gmail.com. Again, that's blockbrospodcast@gmail.com. And if you want us to talk about a specific game, let us know about it. As always, guys, Block Bros Podcast is a Lost Cause Media production, and the opening music is 8-Bit Fun by the Heatley Bros. So we'll catch you guys next week, and until then, take care of yourself.
Later.
Bye.
Lost Cause Media.